They did not knock. They did not ask. They took you. You were 7 years old enough to understand what the word forever means. It was a Tuesday. You remember that. You remember the sound the gate made when it closed, the way the iron screamed against the stone. You remember dirt under your fingernails because you tried to grab something, anything, that would not move. You do not remember your mother's face clearly anymore. That is what frightens you most. You remember her voice breaking. You remember her hands slipping from your shoulders. And you remember the moment, the cold, quiet moment, when you realized no one was coming to stop this. By the time you see her again, if you ever do, you will not speak her language. You will not pray to her God. You will not answer to your name. They will cut your hair. They will change your clothes. They will give you a new faith, a new loyalty, a new father you did not choose. And one day they will hand you a sword and expect you to fight for the empire that stole you. But on this Tuesday, as the gate closes and the dust settles and your village disappears behind you, you are only a child. And you understand with a clarity most adults never have that you are not going back. The collection moves through the Balkan villages every few years. Yours is a Greek village in Macedonia. Small, poor, the kind of place where the best outcome available to a boy like you in any normal life would be your father's farm and your father's debt, and a slow grinding down into the same earth your grandfather ground down into. The collectors assess you like livestock. And yes, you understand how that sounds, and yes, it is accurate. And also, it is the assessment that changes everything about where you end up. They look at your teeth, your eyes, the breadth of your shoulders at 7 years old, which is nothing yet, but suggests something. They take one boy in 40. 1 in 40 from the villages. The boys they don't take go back to the farm. You are taken. The road to Constantinople takes 3 weeks. You cry for the first 4 days. After that, you stop. Not because the grief is gone, because there are 20 other boys on this road in the same condition, and somewhere around the 5th day, you all, without discussion, without agreement, simply start talking to each other instead. This is, you will later understand, your first lesson in what the Corps actually runs on. Not fear, not force, not even loyalty exactly. Belonging. Constantinople, and you will spend the rest of your life calling it that because that is what your mother called it, even though the Ottomans call it something else. Constantinople is the largest thing you have ever seen. You stand at the edge of it and your brain simply fails to process it. The minarets, the walls, the harbor full of ships from places you don't have names for yet. The noise of a city of 500,000 people going about 500,000 lives simultaneously. You have come from a village of 200. The scale is not just larger, it is a different category of thing entirely. They take you to the palace schools, the Enderun. You will spend the next 8 years here becoming something your mother would not entirely recognize and something your father could not have imagined. And, gradually, slowly, with the particular stubbornness of a child who has nothing else to hold on to, something you will eventually, genuinely, choose to be. The training is hard, let's not pretend otherwise. Up before dawn, physical drills until your legs don't work, archery, hundreds of arrows per day until your fingers bleed, and then, when they've hardened, hundreds more. Swordsmanship, wrestling, the care and maintenance of weapons, because a janissary who cannot maintain his own equipment is a liability, and liabilities die. Mathematics, reading and writing in Ottoman Turkish, because the Corps needs men who can receive orders and write reports and function as the administrative backbone of an empire, not merely as its sword arm. You are fed well, better than you ever ate in Macedonia, 3 meals a day, meat, bread, rice, sometimes fruit. You sleep in a dormitory that is crowded but clean. You are given clothes, equipment, a stipend that grows as you advance. The Ottoman state is investing in you with the seriousness of a man who expects a return, which means it is, in its strange transactional way, taking care of you. You learn Turkish fast. Children always do. Within 2 years, you dream in it, which is the point at which a language stops being a tool and starts being part of the architecture of your mind. You convert to Islam at 12. This is complicated. You want to be honest about this because the easy version, forced conversion, spiritual violence, the erasure of everything you were, is not quite right. And the comfortable version, genuine faith, willing embrace, clean transformation, is not quite right either. The truth is somewhere in the middle, which is an uncomfortable place to live, but the only accurate one. You convert because it is required. You convert because the boys around you convert, and you are, by 12, genuinely one of them in every way that matters to your daily life. You convert because the imam who instructs you is patient and intelligent and presents a faith with a coherent internal logic that your 7-year-old Christianity, half-remembered and never properly taught, cannot compete with on intellectual terms. Do you believe? You believe something. You believe in the orta, your unit, your brothers. You believe in the discipline that has made you capable of things the boy in Macedonia could not have imagined. You believe in Constantinople, in the scope of the empire you are being shaped to serve. Whether that is faith or belonging dressed in faith's clothing, you are not sure the distinction matters as much as the theologians say it does. You join the Janissary Corps proper at 15. The ceremony matters, the white felt cap, the acceptance into the orta, which is your regiment, your household, your family in every practical sense. The men who have been here for years look at the new boys with an expression that is not quite warmth. Warmth is not exactly the Janissary mode, but something like recognition. We know what you came from. We know what it cost. You are here now. The Corps is, and this will surprise people who think of it only as a military force, the Corps is a world. It has its own courts, its own laws, its own economy. Senior janissaries run businesses. They lend money. They have political connections that run directly into the palace. The soup cauldron at the center of every orta is not just a cooking pot. It is a symbol of the unit's bond. And when janissaries want to signal discontent with the Sultan, the thing they do, the loaded, terrifying gesture, is overturn the cauldron. A sultan who sees overturned cauldrons in the janissary barracks is a sultan who should be frightened. You understand this power early. You file it away. Your first campaign is against the Venetians in the Aegean. You are 17. The thing about battle, the thing that no description quite prepares you for, is the sound. The visual you have imagined, trained for, rehearsed in drills until the movements are reflex. But the sound of 10,000 men in close engagement is something your body has no framework for. It is not loud in the way that thunder is loud. It is loud in the way that being inside something is loud. You are inside it. You cannot see its edges. You cannot find the part of it that is not you. Your training takes over. This is exactly what training is for. To give the body somewhere to go when the mind whites out. You do not think, you move. Advance, hold formation, cover your flank, watch the man to your left, advance again. Afterward, it is always afterward when the real work happens, you sit with your orda, and nobody says very much, and you eat because you have been told to eat and your hands are shaking slightly, and the man next to you, Yusuf, who has been on 4 campaigns, puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "The shaking stops." He means eventually. He means over years. He is, you will discover, telling the truth. By your late 20s, you are good at this. Not just at fighting. Any trained man can fight. You are good at the larger thing, at reading a situation, at keeping your unit functional under pressure, at the particular skill of being the steadiest person in a room when the room is falling apart. This is what makes careers in the Corps. Not ferocity, steadiness. You have campaigned in Hungary, in Persia, the endless, brutal Persian campaigns that chew through men and supply lines with equal indifference. You have stood siege at fortresses whose names you couldn't pronounce when you arrived and can now give precise tactical assessments of. You have watched commanders make decisions, and you have noted carefully which decisions were right and which were wrong and why. Because a man who pays that kind of attention will eventually be the one making decisions. You are promoted at 29. Odabasi, commander of a room, roughly 10 men under your direct authority. Small, but it is the first time anyone has given you formal responsibility for other people's lives, which is a different weight than responsibility for your own, and you feel the difference immediately. There is a man you write to. His name is Alexios. He is your brother, your actual brother, the one who stayed in Macedonia, the one the collectors looked at and didn't take. He is 31 now. He farms. He has 4 children whose names you know from letters and whom you have never met. You have been corresponding for 15 years, haltingly at first, then with more ease as his Greek improves and your memories overlap more comfortably. He does not know quite what to make of you. You are his brother, and you are an Ottoman soldier, and you serve the empire that levied you from his village, and these things sit in his letters at angles to each other, never quite resolved. You don't try to resolve them for him. You just answer his questions and ask your own and send money when you can, because the farm is always one bad harvest from disaster, which is the same farm it always was, which is why the collectors were not entirely wrong. The core changes in your 30s. Slowly, then fast. The Devshirme, the levy, the system that made you, begins to break down. Born Muslims start entering the core, which was originally forbidden. The sons of janissaries are admitted. The exclusivity that gave the core its particular character, the shared origin of taken boys reshaped into something new, starts to dilute. Men join for the pay and the legal privileges without the formation that made the pay and privileges mean something beyond money. You watch this and you feel something that takes you a while to name. It is not quite grief. It is the feeling of watching the thing that made you become something that would not have made you, which is a strange kind of loneliness that only people who were built by institutions can fully understand. You say nothing. You are not in a position to say anything. You do your job. You are 43 when the campaign goes badly. The details are operational, and the operational details are not the point. The point is, a decision is made above your level that is wrong, and you know it is wrong when it is made, and you say so through the appropriate channels, and you are overruled, and the decision costs you 11 men from your orta. You have lost men before. This is different. This is men lost to a mistake that was visible and named and went ahead anyway, which is a different kind of loss, one that doesn't metabolize the same way. You write the 11 names in your personal record. You have kept this record since your first campaign. Every man lost, every action, every decision and its outcome. It is not an official document. Nobody asked you to keep it. You keep it because you are, underneath the janissary and the conversion and the decades of service, still the boy who was told to look again. And looking again for you has always meant writing it down. You retire at 51. This is what happens when the body's account comes due. The knee that was damaged in Hungary in your 34th year has been arguing with you for 17 years and has finally won the argument. The Corps gives you a pension. It is decent. You have also, over 30 years of service, accumulated enough from pay and campaigns and careful management to live without the pension if you had to, which means you don't have to worry about it, which means you sleep better than you have in years. You go back to Constantinople, not to the barracks, to a small house in a neighborhood near the water where other retired soldiers live, and where nobody asks too many questions about where you came from or what you believe, because everyone here came from somewhere and believes something complicated. You are recognized in the street occasionally by men you served with. The recognition has a particular texture, not the crowd flinching of the executioner's square, nothing like that, but something quieter and more specific. A nod, an acknowledgement between men who know what the same years cost. Alexios visits once in your 55th year. He is old. You are old. You sit in the house near the water and you drink coffee. He has never had coffee before. It is not yet common in the villages. and you talk for 3 days. You talk about your mother, who died 20 years ago and whom you never saw again after the gate closed. You talk about his children and your campaigns. You talk, carefully and then less carefully, about everything that happened between Tuesday and now. On the last evening, he asks you, and you can hear him working up to it across the whole visit, this question sitting in him. He asks you, "Do you wish they hadn't taken you?" You sit with it. You give it the weight it deserves, which is considerable. You tell him, "I wish I had been able to choose. I wish the choice had been mine. But the life I have had is not a life I would give back. And I am not sure those two things can be reconciled, but they are both true, and I have stopped trying to resolve them into something cleaner." He nods. He understands. He is a farmer. He knows about things that are true simultaneously and will not simplify. You die at 64, comfortably, in the house near the water with the sea visible from the window, which is more than the boy from Macedonia had any right to expect, and exactly what the man he became had earned. They bury you in the Muslim tradition, which is correct, which is yours, which is also, and you would want this noted somewhere by someone, not the whole of what you were. Your record survives, the one you kept yourself. 51 years of observations, campaigns, decisions, outcomes, names. The 11 names on the page that never stops bothering you. It passes to a younger man from your Orta, who keeps it for 20 years and then passes it on again, and somewhere in the passing it loses your name, the way these things always do. But the observations stay, and the observations are honest. And honest observations, passed from hand to hand through time, are the closest thing history has to a voice. This is yours.